Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Michael. It's been a while since I made a video. I wanted to hop on here and just share something with you that as I was praying this morning, it kind of fell on my spirit, and so I wanted to share this analogy that I believe it was Pastor Gray. He had this analogy of from National Geographic where the lion or the predator and how they would actually hunt, and there'd be a herd, and there's this predator. And so long as the herd was together, there was strength in numbers. The predator would just sit there and wait patiently and just sit there and just wait as long as it took. And what happened is, if you continue to watch the show, the National Geographic, you see either the weakest, or you see one of the smallest, or one of the gazelles, or one of the deer, whatever it might be, kind of separate itself from the pack or from the herd. And that's when the lion or the tiger would kind of like be ready, like, okay, I'm ready. And so as that gazelle or deer or young deerling got separated from the pack, it put itself in a vulnerable position. And so that this morning was really just I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about myself, and not that I've done anything bad or anything, but spiritually I haven't been where I usually am, And so what I've done essentially, I see that I've isolated myself from the herd, from the pack. And as I isolate myself, the enemy's just waiting patiently, throwing little things to attack at me, whatever it might be. And so I put myself in a vulnerable position. So I wanted to share that with you. We have to just make sure you're reflecting and look at where you're at. Honestly say, spiritually, where am I at? Where am I at right now spiritually? Have I isolated myself from the herd, from the pack, from God? Have I isolated myself away from Him? Have I stopped praying as often as I have? Have I stopped praising and worship? Whatever it might be, don't put yourself in a vulnerable position. And so, all that said, I was praying, and as I continued to pray, what I realized, not only have I isolated myself, but what I've done is I've left the pack vulnerable as well. Because the pack, as the man of my house, as the head of my house, spiritually, I need to make sure that I'm protecting my family. And so if I'm isolated over here and the pack is over here, what have I done essentially? Allowed the enemy to be able to come and attack my pack, because the lead of that house, the head of that house spiritually is not there. So it's okay if you've done that. Listen, just get back to the pack. Get back to the things that you fell in love with Jesus for. Get back to just doing your worship and your praising with God. For me, thankfully, I've been blessed. I've had Fridays off. And so I like that, because it's just me and God. Just me and God. You need to get to a place where it's just you and God. And make sure that you come back to the herd. Make sure that you're keeping your family spiritually fed. Make sure that you're keeping yourself detoxified of all the thoughts and all the bad things that can come, negative things that can come from work, negative things that can come from life, just things happening in general, car breakdowns, bill problems, whatever it might be. Because when you sit there and let that fester in your brain, it separates you and isolates you, and the enemy says, oh, here's a wounded gazelle. Let me go ahead and attack now. So make sure that you don't isolate yourself, separate yourself from the pack. Stay connected to God, stay connected to your family, detoxify all that stuff in your brain, allow Jesus' resurrection power to come in your life and resurrect the love that you had for Him, the love that you have for God, the love that you have for people. Let Him resurrect that. You need to resurrect that. It's like a marriage. If you're married, if you don't resurrect that fire, that love, your marriage is going to just go to the wayside. God is no different. If you don't allow yourself to just spend time with Him and let that relationship resurrect, you're going to have issues because you've isolated yourself. And now the enemy could come run rampant in between you and God. Come back to the herd. Come back to God. Just say, Lord, forgive me, whatever it is that you've done. There is nothing that can separate you from the love of God. Oh, nothing can separate you from the love of God. God loves you. No matter what's happened in your life, God loves you. I promise you, He loves you. If he loves someone like me, I know that he can love someone like you. And his love is what changes things in your life. His love is what transforms things in your life. I love you. God bless you. Peace out. Love you guys.